When those sworn to protect and serve become the criminals, they often fall back into the grave they dig for themselves. Here are such corrupt cops facing karma that ruined their career for life.
10C01-2403 MC 634, that being in criminal contempt of Jamie Noel, and 10C01-2311 F5 297, that being State of Indiana versus Jamie Noel. Mr. Boyles, it's my understanding you have the gentleman here that conducted the search of the Noel properties.
I do, Your Honor. Let the record reflect that on April 17th, after our original contempt hearing, I requested this court to consider appointing an independent person to do a complete, thorough search of all four of the houses that Mr. Noel had control over.
Noel must have been panicking because the first witness they brought on was someone you would never expect.
State your name for the record, please.
Todd Brown.
And Mr. Brown, are you retired from the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
Yes, I do.
How long have you been retired?
Since October of 2022.
Okay. And when you were an agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, where were you stationed?
I was stationed first in Louisville, Kentucky, and then after 10 years, I was transferred to the New Albany Resident Agency in New Albany, Indiana.
Okay. Do you have any specialized training in your job as an FBI agent?
I do. I received basic training at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia.
Unfortunately for the greedy cop, the FBI sent someone to investigate him, but what he uncovered is even more shocking.
I asked you if it would be within your capacity to do an inventory of all our client Jamie Noel's properties that he owned for the purpose of securing any additional weapons that might be there, even though the court didn't authorize that, also to indicate whether any ammunition located in those locations. Is that correct?
That's correct.
They were also located in Jeffersonville?
Yes, all the properties were in Jeffersonville.
Jamie Noel should have been careful because this agent wasn't going to let him get away with anything.
In order to properly conduct such a search, what did you do? How did you prepare yourself?
After receiving the specific locations, once I got to the first location, I took what I would consider entry photos, which is just general photos of the outside of the property. And then once I entered the residence, I took photos as I moved through the residence.
Okay. And did you conduct it in what I would call an orderly manner, starting on one floor and went to another floor? Is that kind of how you did it?
Yes, yeah.
You better keep watching because you don't want to miss out on all the spicy details of what this FBI agent discovered next.
Well, let's start with the first property that you talked about, which would be 3001 Old Tay Bridge in Jeffersonville. Is that the residence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you able to locate any weapons in that home?
I did.
And what did you locate?
I located a Glock 26 pistol, semi-automatic pistol, a Sig Sauer 1911 semi-automatic pistol, and a shotgun.
The Glock 26, did you also take a photograph of where that was located?
They did well getting a professional to investigate because no one else could find this slimy cop's secret hiding spots.
We have a picture up on the screen which would be for the purpose of having you identify the area where that weapon was found. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what room of the house is that?
That is a closet next to the laundry room. As you're looking at the photo, the laundry room is in the background of the photo, and the closet is the main part of the photo.
And that's on the main floor of the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I noticed that there's a lot of material in that closet. Was that there when you went through it that day?
Yes, sir.
Where was the gun located?
It was so well hidden that our detective would find it impossible to tell you where it was with just words.
It was located in with all these items that are shoved into the closet area here.
Was it on the floor? Was it in an item, or where was it?
Actually, at the time that I located it, I was pulling items out of the closet, and there was a nylon zip case, and I opened the nylon zip case to see what was in it, and that's when there was a gun box inside the zip case. I opened the gun box, and the gun and one magazine was in the box.
Since the court prohibited him from possessing firearms, Jamie Knoll left his properties in unlivable conditions just to hide them.
We're now showing a new photograph of a picture weapon. Can you describe that, please?
Yes, that's the Glock 26 pistol that I found, and that's the manner in which I found it. It was in the box, locked back, and the magazine was in the box also.
And that's the one that came from the closet?
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that the photograph of a closet located in the master bedroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was there a weapon located there?
There was.
And what was the weapon?
It was a 6-hour 1911 semi-automatic pistol.
Okay. And where was that weapon located?
It was located in this area of the floor. There was a pile of stuff on the floor.
Knoll definitely got caught in 4K UHD, so stay tuned because you won't believe what his reaction is.
State's Exhibit 1.
Not states it.
I mean, Defendant's Exhibit 1.
So it's Defendant's Exhibit 1 and then
Right,
yeah.
sorry.
We're always blue state. Mr. Brown, I'm going to hand you what's been marked for identification as Defendant's Exhibit 1 and ask you, can you identify that?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
That's a thumb drive that contains the photographs that I took from examining all 4 properties.
As crazy as the condition of his house was, stay tuned because what Brown finds next is even crazier.
Describe what it was.
It was a Remington 1187 police model auto-loading shotgun.
And was that weapon loaded when you discovered it?
No, sir, I don't believe it was.
Is that weapon still at the house?
No, sir, to the best of my knowledge, it is not.
Did someone in the house indicated they wanted it removed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was it removed?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And it's currently located in Mr. Wilder's office under his protective custody. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
The lawyer could barely believe how idiotic this corrupt cop's antics were, but what happens next is even more bizarre, so make sure to keep watching.
So those are the entire amount of weapons that you found when you searched all 4 properties. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Cross-examination, Mr. Hurdle.
If he was allowed to have the shot, why did you remove it?
At the request of his wife.
Was she present when you were there?
She was not.
You spoke to her, though?
No, sir. Paul Meyer spoke to her, and Paul Meyer advised me that she wanted the weapon removed.
And you said Paul Meyer's working on the case. He works for the defense?
Yes, sir.
It seems that Knoll's behavior was so insufferable that even his wife had enough, but his comeuppance is so satisfying you'll want to make sure not to miss out.
Approximately how many rounds of ammunition did you find?
It would be a really rough estimate. I've detailed it in my report. Approximately 5,000 rounds.
What caliber?
Various calibers. They're 9mm, 45, 380, 5.56, and 7.62. There could be others. That's what I recall.
This cop couldn't get any more blatant with his court order violations. Still, things are about to take an unexpected twist.
Did you have any contact with the defendant, his wife, or his daughter?
With his daughter.
Which daughter?
Grace.
What was the extent of that contact?
Just to advise that I was at the home.
Had you ever met any of them before?
No, sir.
Had you ever met the defendant before?
I do not specifically recall ever meeting the defendant.
You know things are bad when Noel's own family is working against him, yet the case keeps getting even wilder.
Did you search any vehicles?
I did.
Ammunition or weapons found in any cars, trucks, or other types of vehicles?
No, sir.
Do you recall off the top of your head what vehicles you searched?
There was a Trans Am and a BMW at the residence. Then there were several what I would call classic cars, older cars.
As if the case wasn't already teetering on absurd, the lavishes of Noel's life as a simple sheriff are truly beyond belief, as you will just see.
Several, more than 10, less than 10?
I would say 10 to 12.
Just how could a simple sheriff like Noel afford all these cars? Be sure to keep your eyes glued to the screen if you want to find out how he did it.
2022,
Yes, sir.
were you able to keep your service revolver or sidearm?
No, sir.
Do you have one you typically carry?
I do.
Do you know where it's at all times?
Yes, sir.
Did you always know where your service sidearm was? It's probably not a revolver, was it?
No, sir. Yes, sir, I did.
So to find a service revolver, I keep saying revolver, service firearm, in a duty belt with other mags, that's not too far-fetched to believe that one would know where that was at, would it? Rhetorical question, you don't have to answer.
Yes, sir.
Just reinforces my decision to impose sanctions.
This foolish cop dug deeper and deeper pits for himself to fall into, and now the judge is exposing all his little mistakes like you wouldn't expect.
Remington shotgun. Was it in a box when you found it?
No, sir.
Was it near a box? A Remington firearm box?
Not that I recall.
Did it still have tags on it?
No, sir.
Where was it at?
I located it in the basement, what I generally term the theater room.
And not loaded?
No, sir.
Not much use for self-defense, is it?
No, sir.
You might expect Noel to get off easy in the end, but this judge was not about to let him get off that easily.
I'm not going to impose any further sanctions today because it was not certified to me that there was no further firearms. But after today, if there's any further firearms found, there will be additional sanctions. So if your client needs to tell you something, he needs to tell you right now. You need to take a few moments and ask.
One thing we would add,
Hold
Your
on.
Honor, is the duty weapon
Let us
versus...
get back on. Okay, we're back on that. Go ahead.
The only thing we could add, Your Honor, is there's no weapons in the house now, and the duty weapon was seized on the original search. It was in the console of his car.
Okay.
So the one that was found was not the duty weapon.
Okay.
Thank you.
The judge and prosecutor didn't stop berating the defense just yet, so make sure to stay tuned because you won't want to miss this.
Why was it in a service holster with additional mags? And you don't have to answer that.
Well, because I don't carry guns, so I don't know, Judge. I got a BB gun.
That's all right. Mr. Brown, thank you. And thank you for conducting the search for me. I appreciate it.
I know the court made its decision not to issue any more sanctions, but from the state's perspective, the finding of 2 additional weapons, one a service weapon, one that was loaded, easily accessible, is still concerning and troubling to the state. I know it is to the court as well.
Noel lucked out by the skin of his teeth, but a month later, the judge would give this dirty criminal just the treatment he deserves.
Mr. Stewart, I want you to know I have the greatest respect for your legal knowledge and your knowledge of procedure. You're an intelligent man. I'm going to reiterate this again. I told Mr. Knoll not to do anything stupid, not to deceive me, not to define me. he would not like the consequences. Didn't seem like you listened the first time. You were released, and thus I sentenced you to 60 days for contempt.
This judge simply wasn't having it, and he kept tearing into Jamie Knoll. So make sure to keep watching because this is about to get much more interesting.
Your behavior since you were released seems to fit into all these categories. You know, I'm just a country boy from Washington County with a public school education. But when somebody warns me not to do something, I try to heed that warning because we say what we mean up there.
The judge made things personal, but Knoll's nightmare was just beginning.
All the while, every day, individuals are trying to survive, working paycheck to paycheck with their own money that they've worked hard for while you're out flaunting the luxuries acquired allegedly at the expense of taxpayers. So with all these luxuries and all the money that you've allegedly taken, I'm thinking about $1.5 million in bond ought to be appropriate. You should be able to post that with no problems with everything that you have.
This was so unexpected that the courtroom went completely silent, and the defense's reaction is simply priceless.
If you don't listen to that, you post it, I don't know where we're going. That's
There's an increase by 1.5 million, or is it total 1.5?
Oh, do you have that much in the Bank of Wilder over
Judge,
there?
I was just trying to figure out my math over here.
We'll make it 1.5 even.
Thank you.
Shall we hold it until you go get it?
I would say Mrs. Wilder probably would have a question about that. Thank you.
Is there anything else? Mr. Stewart, I may be wrong, but my responsibility is to the citizens of Clark County and the state of Indiana.
Things couldn't seem to get worse, but this was just the beginning of the end for the corrupt Jamie Knoll.
Count 31, you understand and admit that between November 9th of 2023 and March 29th of 2024, you knowingly or intentionally exerted unauthorized control over property of the Volunteer Firefighters Association with the intent to deprive the Firefighters Association of the value of the property, and the value of the property was in excess of $50,000. More particularly, there were American Express credit card purchases in the amount of $37,151 and Sam's Club credit card purchases in the amount of $15,667. You understand that that is a violation of the law of the state of Indiana?
Yes, sir.
And that you acknowledge and admit that you committed that offense in count 31, theft is a level 5 felony.
Being forced to admit your heinous crimes in front of the courtroom is bad enough, but Knoll's true punishment will really shock you, so keep watching.
Mr. Hurl, do you have any further questions of Mr. Knoll?
Mr. Knoll, you know you don't have to plead guilty to anything today, don't you?
I'm sorry?
You know you don't have to plead guilty to anything today?
Yes, sir. More of that.
It's your choice.
Yes, sir.
You're pleading guilty because you committed these crimes?
Yes, sir.
Anything else, Judge?
Nothing related to those questions, Judge. Thank you.
This level of honesty is astounding, but just wait and see what's about to go down because it will definitely blow your mind.
As you are well aware, and Mr. Wilder's aware, have rights. And I'd like to hear from some of the victims, or a lot of the victims, at a date in the future in regards to whether they believe that this is an appropriate sentence or whether they don't believe it's an appropriate sentence. I think it appears that Mr. Knoll spent approximately almost 10 years incarcerated with a period of probation.
The judge didn't stop there with taking down this guilty cop. The judge's calmness is going to break down, so just wait and see how he bashes the disgusting cop for his actions.
As I hope Mr. Knoll has learned from my previous actions that I mean what I say and I say what I mean. So, Mr. Hurdle, who may potential victims, and I mean not just management, not just the sheriff's department. I mean EMS workers that have lost their jobs, paramedics that are not out there saving people because the money was diverted for pleasures. I want to hear from people that don't have $800 belts. I want to hear from taxpayers that have been aggrieved by the actions of this individual.
Next, an entitled officer made headlines with this well-deserving sentence, proving that justice is blind to privilege.
What's going on?
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
So, what's your business here today?
Oh, I'm going to the court.
Just look at court?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, sitting in there.
Okay, well,
What are you sitting
What am I sitting in there for?
That's why I'm asking.
You told me there was no court today.
This is a court that's got nothing to do with you. This is a civil trial.
It doesn't
So
matter
why are
what
you
it is.
doing that?
You can be in there
How
and
come
watch
you
any
were
court
walking
you want.
around the building and
Because I've
going
never
in
seen this
everywhere?
court. I'm from
Huh?
Minot. Like I've
Yeah?
seen the lady downstairs.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Seems to me like the deputy has just chosen Derek as his fodder for today. And it doesn't matter what laws he needs to break to get his way.
So you're just wandering around sitting in a courtroom where you don't know anything that's going
Yeah.
on?
Why can't you?
Huh?
What amendment is that? The Fourth Amendment? If
I
I'm
don't
not
know if
mistaken?
I'm not going to quote amendments.
So I'm
All
gonna
right,
go back
just-
in here and I'm
I'm
gonna
just
sit
gonna
and
wonder.
watch.
And you're gonna be civil. Because if you're not, then
Was
there's
I
gonna be
in there?
problems.
Was I in there not being
No,
civil?
I'm just telling you what's
I'm
going to
telling
happen.
you.
No, I'm telling you what's
No,
going
I'm
to happen.
telling you what's going to happen.
No,
I'm in there.
I'm
watching
telling you
court.
what's going to
I'm
happen.
telling you.
You're going to go in there, if you're going to go in there, you're going to be quiet. Go down here. Go down here.
let's walk around this corner. Around the corner.
I had no problem with you being in there, but if you start any shit in there, we're going to be back and you're going to be going to jail.
Didn't I
Do you
just-
understand?
didn't I ask
No,
you
do you understand what I
downstairs?
said? Do you understand what I said?
I asked
Do you understand what I
didn't
said?
I asked you if there was court today and you told me no.
Either this deputy isn't educated in the Constitution or he willingly ignores it. Either way, I'm baffled by how such a person is allowed to attain such a position of authority.
This is a civil trial.
It doesn't matter what it is. I can
doesn't
go in
matter.
there. That's
It's
why
none of
there's
your
benches.
business.
You can go see it. It's
It's none of your
public.
business.
It's public,
It's
so
none
it
of
is
your
my business.
So why did you go to every office?
Why can't I?
Huh?
What's the
Why?
big deal?
Why is your
Why
problem?
can't I?
Why you
Because people don't normally do that. They don't come in here and go to everybody's places.
walk all over the place for no reason at all?
I'm not most people. I'm going in
I'm
there,
finding that out.
and I asked you if there was court today, and you told me no.
Right, there is
Because
no
I like
court.
to go in Minot a lot and go watch court.
Yes,
So
I
when is
have
court in
occasionally.
session? For what?
I want to see your
For
identification.
what law?
I want to see your identification.
What?
I'm
For
asking
what?
you as a peace officer, personal ID, so I know who I'm
For
talking.
coming and seeing?
No, 'cause
My-
you're in my
look,
building.
My name's Derek, and this is
you're-
our building.
Why would this deputy lie to him about there being no court? Seems awfully suspicious to me.
We got security here, right? We've had security concerns in the past, okay? That's what we have. You're right, it is public, okay? But when you're going from room to room, that's unusual, okay? Which is why he's checking on you.
And that's
Now,
okay.
now listen, because that's suspicious activity, we're investigating, that's what we're here, okay? Now, because of that, you have to identify yourself, because we're investigating a suspicious act in a government building, okay? So if you ask for identification, you do have to provide it, okay?
Okay, and why? I don't understand. Like I go in there and you pull me out when I'm
Because
legally
we're
okay to go in
we're
there.
checking to see what's going on, we're investigating.
I'm legally fine to go in there
Yeah,
and
but
watch
we want to
court.
make sure
You
that
pull me out?
we're
Really?
just seeing what your intentions are and what's going on.
This is just a typical case of cop doesn't want his illegal operations to be checked on. All these corrupt cops antagonize you as soon as you start properly exercising your rights.
For legally okay act. No, it's not suspicious.
It is to me.
Me and you don't have the same options of what's suspicious. What's suspicious to me is you pull me out of court when I'm in there
What's suspicious
watching,
to me?
not being loud. Sir, I let you talk. No, you're not going to shush me. I let you talk. I'm in there watching court and you have me come out here so they can run my ID. I'm in court and I'm sitting and being civil, not making any noise. And I asked you downstairs, was there court today? You told me no. And then you're like, well, it's none of your business. It's public. So it is my business. I can go in there and I can watch
Okay.
just fine.
Now it's my turn. For no reason at all. All right, we have security concerns in here. People just don't walk around.
I'm not most people.
I'm talking now. Remember, it's my turn. Most people don't walk around and go to every office and checking out everything. That is not a normal thing to be done.
It doesn't matter if it's normal, it's allowed by law. But clearly these officers can't understand that.
That is suspicious to me. That's why these gentlemen are here, all right? This is a civil trial. You have no reason really to be in there. There's no reason to be in there.
any courtroom,
Okay?
watching what's going
You're
on.
giving me an attitude whenever I ask you something, then you're going in there. My security concern is that you might start something in there. I've got a full place full of
And I'm
people.
sitting there being civil and quiet, so that your security concerns goes right out the window.
That's where you return.
Yeah.
That's how we're checking on you, okay?
You're in my building. for
This
no
is our
reason.
building. This is a public building,
My
not
building.
your building.
It's my building.
Public, it's
For
not your
security.
building. It is not your building. So quit saying it's my building.
You're in my building.
It's not your building.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I'm security here, it's my building.
It's
I'm
not your building.
responsible for this building.
Okay, and
So
when
I'm
I came
checking on
in-
anybody that's suspicious.
And I'm not suspicious. You are suspicious. Treat me like a criminal when I'm not.
The entitlement of this deputy is disgusting to watch. He thinks he has unquestionable authority, but he's horribly mistaken.
Let's go public
Let's
right
go
now.
downstairs.
All right, let's go.
All right, let's go.
10-4, thank you.
Come on, downstairs.
For what?
Huh? Sworn in disrupting this court.
I'm done disrupting. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna go in
We
there.
can talk.
I'm done talking. Officers, I'm done. I just wanna go in there. I wanna sit.
Well,
This is a county building,
Okay, and it's public. We know
If you're
that.
not here for court and they don't want you here, they can do that.
If you're trespassing, they can do that. I'm not. No, I'm committing a crime. I'm not committing a crime. I like to go to court and
it's
watch.
but our building, their building, whatever. If they don't want you here, they can be like, time to go.
For if you commit, it's like trespassing. If I commit
You don't
a
have to
crime.
commit a crime. You don't have to.
So these cops are just going to lie to this man's face and expect him to fall for it? Each day, law enforcement reaches new lows.
So if they want you gone, then you have to leave.
The problem is I didn't do anything.
Right.
I gave you my ID and I was nice. He's more than rude, and you guys are very nice. And I just want to go in there. I want to sit and not like I was. Was I doing anything wrong? I was just sitting in there
Right.
watching. That I'm okay to do.
Right. But you're at the point where, like I said, he's the head of this building, so what he says, you kind of got to do it. Okay.
So let's get your boss then. Let's get your boss then.
Let's go downstairs.
Is your boss? We're gonna go talk to your
Let's
boss.
go downstairs.
We'll go downstairs and figure it
Yep.
out there, okay?
Take the stairs for us.
Now they're not even going to let him use the elevator? I haven't seen cops treat criminals with such animosity, but this innocent man is sure getting the short end of the stick.
My boss, my sergeant, is not here today. That's their fault. I am in charge right now.
All right.
Okay?
So I was up there not doing anything wrong. As you know, I don't have that. If you're like, hey, you need it, I don't need help. They ran my stuff, nothing came back. It tells you that I'm not a criminal. I've never been to court for stuff other than watching stuff in Minot. That's why when I ask, hey, is there any court going on? You're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, let me see the building.
This deputy is grasping at straws here. Anything that could get him to kick Derek out for no reason.
So if I got loud, I apologize. But we know that I can go in that courtroom, I can sit there and watch what's going on. It's public record. It's not
My concern
secretive.
is that you've gone to every
That's fine, because I'm asking questions.
hallway, every office, places where I couldn't see you, and you were there
Yeah,
for a while.
and I'm
I
asking
don't know what's
questions.
going on.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right?
You're absolutely
I'm not
okay.
asking questions. You're saying that you have no business here, you just want to sit.
Why can't I sit in the court? I'm just watching. That's all I'm doing.
When I first approached you and asked you about this, you copped an attitude with me.
No,
All right,
I,
yes, you
I
did.
kind of looked at you and then caught
No,
that.
you
And
copped
I
an attitude.
apologize.
All right?
And I went up there and I was sitting, and I was like, okay, well,
I'm going to
it's
give you an
done.
option, all right? You go up there, you can sit.
Okay.
I'm going to be up, it's going to be on camera, all right? I'll be watching. If I get any hint, any slight hint that there's going to be a problem, you will be out of here.
At least the deputy's calming down now. Maybe he's finally realized the actual extent of his authority isn't that broad.
Are you not used to talking to people?
Oh, I'm used to talking to people.
I'm not.
I've been here for over 25
Yeah.
years, man. I know about talking to
Did I
people.
cuss at you?
Huh?
Did I cuss
Did
at
I
you?
cuss at you?
You just said the F word.
Or you want to start, the way I talk, then you can just leave. If you're going to have a problem with the way I talk, then you can just leave.
Am I being unreasonable here?
Gentlemen, let him out of here.
Am I
Okay.
being unreasonable?
Okay. Yeah, like we said, you got your ID? Brett, you got his ID?
Not yet, back from.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to have to escort you out, but you got to go, man. Okay?
Get your lieutenant, or where can I go?
My lieutenant?
chiefs, whoever it is. I did nothing wrong.
Okay.
I was in here just looking around, which is public property I can do.
Well, this is my sergeant. You want to talk to him? You can talk to
I'm
him.
the supervisor on the
Okay, and I never got an attitude with him. You've seen the way he's acting with me. I was not rude.
I understand.
These officers are only accommodating the deputies' horrible actions. They're part of the same system and part of the reason such people go unscathed after committing crimes.
I can go up there and watch court, and I can sit there and be quiet, and that's what I was doing.
But as head of security for the building here, if he thinks the actions are suspicious, he wants to leave. Listen to me.
Go ahead.
If he thinks the actions are suspicious, he wants to leave, and you don't have a legitimate purpose other than to watch, I'm going to ask you to leave. That being said, if you do wish to file a complaint, there are options for that. It would be
So where's the suspicion? Can you show me what is suspicious on a piece of paper?
I've already explained to you why it's suspicious. Okay. You come into a government building and you walk through.
Public
It's still
property.
a government building.
But it's still public property.
It's still a government building. Okay. You go through a security checkpoint, get in everything. Okay. And you start going through offices where we have attorneys, important paperwork, lawyers, everything like that here in this building. And you just start going through it.
This man is ranting, as is his right, and he's going to give these officers an earful.
We're going to check on it. It's a little unusual. Usually you go to, well, I have court here, I'm going to go to court here, and I'm going to leave, right? I got city court here, I'm going to city court, and I'm going to leave. This isn't, it breaks the normal, okay? Regardless if there's a law, it's suspicious activity. We're following up on that. Now, because, like I said, you don't have a legitimate purpose here, and because the security wants you gone, and because even though it's a public building, it is still private, like, treated as private property, okay? Once gone, I'm going to ask you to leave, okay? Now, if you want to file a complaint with how, the sheriff's office or the county handles things, because we're city, here's the city, okay? That would be through the Williams County Sheriff's Office, okay? They're on the 3rd floor over there. Does that make sense? I'll explain that to you.
It really is heartbreaking seeing how such institutions take advantage of the public, and Derek is just another victim.
What is, let's go to public property, right on the sidewalk, because I want to talk to you guys more.
Okay.
What is his fucking problem? And now I'm going to use my freedom of speech here because come on, guys.
Okay.
We know that I can go in there and look. I'm from Minot. I'm not from Williston, so there's nothing, suspicious about me walking through. I even asked the lady, what's the difference between municipal and district? And I asked him, hey, is there any court today? In her office, and he told me no.
Yeah.
If he said, yeah, there's court on the 3rd floor, okay, then I'm going to go to court on the 3rd floor and sit there and watch like I was doing.
I mean, there's no city court today. Maybe that's kind of the side of that. But either way, I understand. Yes, you can do court. But I just want you to see my point when I say this is suspicious activity, okay? It's unusual. We don't have that usually.
Of course you don't.
Yeah, so that's why we're checking on you.
Yes, of course.
Now he checks on you. Now,
The man was so frustrated, even he resorted to cussing. And why shouldn't he after the disrespectful manner in which he was treated?
when it comes to his conduct...
You see, he just said, fucking, come on, guys, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Right.
So now I'm going to go get my camera and I'm going to sit here on public property, which we know I can do, and record in there. Because this is public property. So if he gets an attitude with it, let's be real here. It is public property.
This is public.
This is public property.
Right.
I was doing nothing. And like, this is my problem, right, guys? You ran my ID. I've never done anything wrong. I've never stolen, never done nothing. And when he treats me like I don't want to use the cuss words. Excuse me, a criminal. Come on, what is that? And I understand. Hey, I understand. It might be what is what do we say? It's suspicious activity. Okay. It's also suspicious for somebody to walk around on a public street and record your house.
These cops keep on trying to insert their lies into the conversation. They think they can get away with this, but karma comes for everyone.
Exactly.
When you come and they're like, well, there's nothing suspicious, you're going to go, oh, well, you know, the person doesn't like it. Obviously, if you're not I can't go into your yard and record into your window when you're naked. We know the law, the camera law.
Right.
But
now that being said, if your actions do harass or annoy, that can be disorderly conduct.
Yeah.
There are.
But it's all disorderly. Yeah. And if you're just sitting there.
I'm gonna move to this point for you, okay, my man? Because like I understand where you're coming from. I really do. Okay. Now, like I said, this isn't our agency. Okay. So I can't handle complaints from.
Yeah.
But if you're handling how he was handling that, and I understand that you.
The answer 10 to
be the third floor, Williams County Sheriff's Office. They're the ones to talk.
This man's frustrations only grow from here.
Dude, the cop comes and totally treats me like a fucking asshole. Like, oh, they know you stole. And for me, it's like, oh, shit. You know? And I know you guys are just doing your job, but it didn't help. And I'm a dude that's ever broke a law.
I can't speak for my PD, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, once again, it's Walmart's private property.
Yeah.
You know,
but I mean, where's the line?
Yep.
Walmart can kick you out for whatever they want. They can even say you stole as long as you're not trespassing you for stealing.
Yeah.
Which that's false. You can't say to a cop, oh, he stole. And the cop goes, oh, you stole.
And these are the double standards of law enforcement. The way this man has been vilified several times with no remorse is horrifying to think about.
He wants me out of there. I didn't do any crimes. I went in her office and asked if there was court today. Both of them told me no. If they were like, yes, it's on the 3rd floor, I would have went right up to the 3rd floor in that courtroom and just sat there. And that's what I did as soon as I seen it was in session.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's not my business or not. We know that it's public property. You can go in any court. It's an amendment. I got to remember what amendment it is. It doesn't matter if it's district, civil, if it's O.J. Simpson being tried for murder. You can go in the court and you can watch.
Right.
You can't record.
Some things.
Yeah, I mean, some things might be different from others. Yeah. But if they had that door closed and it said like only lawyers, and this, I'd have been like, okay, well, I'm not going to go in there. But it was wide open, and I'm not sure who else is in there just sitting and watching. But do any of those people have the right to be in there? I'm not asking you the question. I'm just saying.
I still don't know why these cops took the side of the deputy when they knew he was wrong. But that's just the way most cops are. Sweet on the surface, but just as cruel and corrupt as every single other law enforcement officer.
At the end of the day, though, whatever. That's my view on it now. And when you say, and I hate when people go, oh, I know how you feel. You do not know how I feel. You do not know how I feel. I don't know how you feel. I don't know how you feel. You deal with criminals all day. You deal with some innocent people. So it's like you get, I don't want to go off on tangents, but you know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't like, well, fuck you, I'm not giving you, I wasn't like that. If I was like that, I could have been like, I couldn't see you guys going, okay, well, we're going to do this. I mean, I don't know should I go talk to a lawyer right now and be like, hey, I was in the court down there, they told me there's no court, and then they had me escorted out for no reason. I'll sue him. I don't care.
I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can. It's
you want to file a complaint.
Now the deputy will see the meaning of justice and end up in the very same courtroom he kicked Derek out of.
The protect and serve thing goes right out the window. You're not supposed to protect and serve one person. I thought you're supposed to protect and serve two. So we're supposed to hear a full story. And I know you're not the guy at the building, but you can be like, hey, dude, he didn't do anything. You can't use suspicion to a First Amendment. You know what I mean? Suspicion doesn't trump an amendment right. I'm fine to come in here and look all I want. There's no law against that. Now, if he was like, well, what are you here? Shut up, dude. Walking around, going in, oh, well, what are you here for? I'm fine. Suspicious, yeah.
I get that, you don't want to get that trouble. But in the same way you have rights to do that, as the person head of the building, he has rights to have your building. I mean, when it comes to that, that's not unlawful.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to his conduct kind of thing, that kind of stuff, that you can.
These cops once again shamelessly insert their lies. Luckily, the body camera footage is there for all to see.
All right, like I said, I'm just gonna get my camera and set it up here and try to get a camera of him. And
Just don't want one thing.
No, and I didn't talk to him.
No, and listen to me. If competition happens, just call the police department.
Yeah.
Don't get confrontational.
No, I didn't, and that's why I walked away.
And I know you didn't. I'm just telling. I just don't want you to.
You say, oh, well, it's suspicious to this. Okay, it might be suspicious for people to talk to themselves. People that talk to themselves think it's just fine.
Yep.
So we're not all the same people. We can't say something suspicious when, show me on the law what suspicious is, and I understand you're just doing your job.
Yep, like I said, we don't know what you were doing
checking on you.
Yeah.
And now we know.
Yep, and hey, for him to go, oh, well, we want you, dude, he's not going to sit and treat me like I don't want to cuss, but I know it's my right to do so.
Yep.
He's not going to treat me like a fucking asshole and expect me just to sit there and take it from him. I'm an adult.
Derek is finally taking a stand for himself, and hopefully Royce Crone pays the price for his actions as a result.
I have a hard time with, like, if somebody's yelling at me with being quiet, and that's why I couldn't.
Like, we can tell you're frustrated right now. We totally
I didn't
understand.
do anything. I just went in there to watch a court, which I can do by law.
Right.
There's no such thing as suspicion when I'm walking and checking what our tax dollars pay for.
Right.
Here's the thing, man. Things that what happened. We're gonna have to be past that. Okay. Cool down. Take a walk. Okay. Do whatever you want after that. Just, right now they want you out of there. Okay. Like I said, you want to file a complaint against him, kind of thing. You can do that. But otherwise, what happened today is going to be noted in our law. Okay.
Thank you, guys. You have a good day, man.
You too.
This corrupt deputy may have gotten his way by using brute force and the most horrible tactics, but this cop didn't seem to have the same luck after he committed his crime.
Do hereby find the defendant Michael Amiot guilty.
During August of 2017, a traffic stop in Euclid, Ohio turned violent, and the officer at fault, Michael Amiot, was face to face with the full force of the law.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've advised the bailiff that you've arrived at a verdict. Have you arrived at a verdict?
Yes, sir.
If you would, please pass it to the bailiff.
This petulant cop had ground and pounded an innocent man, Hubbard, at the traffic stop, but now he would be getting beaten up by the jury's decision.
Case number 19CRB00890, verdict. We, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, do hereby find the defendant Michael Amiot not guilty of assault, a misdemeanor of the first degree in violation of Section 2903.13a of the Ohio Revised Code, as charged in Count 1. We do so render our verdict this 29th day of July, signed by all 8 jurors.
It might seem he got away with it, but there was another charge just waiting to be announced.
Verdict. We, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, do hereby find the defendant Michael Amiot guilty of assault, a misdemeanor of the first degree, in violation of Section 2903.13a of the Ohio Revised Code, as charged in Count 2. We do so render our verdict this 29th day of July, 2022.
It seems it couldn't get worse for Amiot, but this dirty cop had more crimes to cross off his list.
Verdict. We, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, do hereby find the defendant Michael Amiot guilty of interfering with civil rights, a misdemeanor of the first degree, in violation of Section 2921.45a of the Ohio Revised Code, as charged in Count 3. We do so render our verdict this 29th day of July, 2022. Signed by all 8 jurors.
We look at a lot of cases on this channel, but ones like this where corrupt cops realize their actions have consequences are always the most satisfying.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are these your verdicts?
Yes, sir.
On behalf of the state, do you wish the jury polled?
No, Your Honor.
On behalf of the defendant, do you wish the jury polled?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 1, is this your verdict?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Are these your verdicts, I should say?
Yes.
Juror number 2, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 3, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 4, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 5, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 6, are these your verdicts? Juror number 7, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 8, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Anything further of the jury?
Amiot must be even more embarrassed now because the whole jury unanimously found him guilty on 2 of his 3 accounts.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you all for performing your civic duty. One of the things that I will say is that you've done your job. You came, you heard the evidence, you applied the law, you made a decision. The prosecutor had a job, the defense attorney had a job. Your job was not to prove anything or disprove anything. Your job was to determine what was presented to you, determine the facts, apply the law, render a verdict. You did that. You should leave feeling that you've done your job.
The judge leaves some wise words for the jurors in his usual professional tone, but underneath you can tell he is glad they gave this evil cop the convictions he deserves on his record.
1, a finding of not guilty. Count 2 and count 3, the court will enter a finding of guilty. The court will set this matter out for sentencing, given the fact that under Ohio law, the victim has the right to make a statement or present anything he may wish to present to the court. Consult with the attorneys and the court administrator and set this matter over for sentencing at a date that's agreeable for everyone.
His sentence was left for another day, but you can bet he got what he deserved. Meanwhile, the judge had some conciliatory last words to end this hectic case.
I want to thank everybody for their conduct. I know it got a little contentious at time, but that's to be expected sometimes. With that, we adjourn.
Then a once decorated officer's shocking double life comes to light, a visible reminder of how betrayal of trust inevitably leads to downfall.
January 28, 2015, where his life changed forever. He was stopped by the defendant, a then Inkster police officer, and his partner, Officer Zelenuski. Mr. Dent was stopped for a minor traffic offense. With his hands extended out of his driver's window, he was grabbed out, thrown to the ground, and struck 16 times in the head. He was thrown onto a window shield.
Just wait until you hear the whole truth about what Officer Melendez actually did, so make sure to stay tuned.
The responding police officers arrived as the defendant is wrestling the defendant to the ground. Mr. Dent was struck, kicked, and tased while on the ground by what appeared to be a group of angry, anxious police officers that celebrated after the defendant was beaten and cuffed. The video in the car shows the police officers fist bumping as a celebratory act of bravery. But the one image that struck out to the court was looking at Mr. Dent in his cell, shaking his head.
If you think this was bad, just wait for what came next regarding the officer's messages with one of his comrades. So keep on watching to see just how bad it really is.
In disbelief of what had occurred to him. If his conduct was indicative of what he was thinking, I would have thought this. What crime did I commit? Being a black man in a Cadillac, stopped for a minor traffic offense by a group of racist police officers looking to do a nick. As Police Officer John Zelenuski, auxiliary police officer, testified in court too, in his response to a text, was quoted as saying, "At least give me the satisfaction of knowing that you're out there beating up right now."
Such racists should be in jail, but instead they end up on the police force, a testament to how corrupt the system is.
The purpose of it was to harass and degrade a motorist in Inkster. The man chosen for your game was Floyd Dent, a black man. The game went like this. Let's follow a car in a known drug area, and based on your years of training experience, you knew that the motorist would likely be a black person. No license, armed with a gun or drugs in a vehicle.
Melendez employs the most disgusting tactic I've ever seen in this next clip.
It took me several days to read the letters that people sent talking about your character, about the man that you are, about how you went in Westland and helped to save 3 senior citizens from a burning building. 3 of those letters, I believe, were from African Americans, and one even professed to be like a mother. One or two things, either they're all racist or there's something redeeming about you that somehow in some way you forgot that night.
The age-old trick of the fake letters. He's just digging himself into a hole here, and he's going to pay for his horrible actions. So make sure to keep on watching to see his face when he hears his sentence.
At the station, the other eye of justice captured you and your posse making fun of Mr. Dent, mimicking him struggling while you all wiped the blood off your uniforms with disinfectant while he watched. Such an awesome, caring, properly trained police officer. You led your fellow officers down a path of cowardly behavior. You betrayed your city. You caused your lovely wife heartache. And you caused Mr. Dent severe anguish.
Tell him to make fun of Mr. Dent now. With the look on his face, seems like he no longer has the guts.
Today, I can only punish your conduct, but only you and God can change your character. I've had an opportunity to listen to both sides. And I had to say this because I didn't say this during the trial. But it was my privilege to be able to oversee this trial because I had great lawyers.
The guilt on his face is apparent, but this horrible officer is only sorry because he happened to get caught.
I am going to commit you to the Michigan Department of Corrections. However, after weighing the allegations in this particular matter and looking at all the circumstances, including what you've done and who the person I really believe that you are, I'm going to commit you to the Michigan Department of Corrections as to count 1 for no less than 13 months, no more than 10 years. As to count 2, I'm going to give you 90 days credit for time served and close it out. The court's going to give you 85 days for credit. You have 42 days to appeal my decision. That concludes this matter. Thank you.
Officer Melendez should be glad he doesn't face more jail time because I guarantee you, as soon as he's out, he does the same thing all over. However, this next officer made this crime look like child's play, especially with the deceitful manner in which it was carried out.
Let's do this. I'm gonna shoot you this number.
On September 19, 2022, a correctional officer, Dale Gilbert, was caught by Sergeant Valerie doing something absolutely unbelievable. Follow to see how this shocking crime unfolds.
Sergeant Hampton seems to think that you may be able to help me out on some information. It's my understanding, you correct me if I'm wrong, that you have some problems with your visitation. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Look, here's the deal. I may be able to get you a special visit with your son, but that's contingent on whether or not you can help me with these drugs coming in.
This was possible because of an inmate who snitched on him in return for a favor.
Yeah, and I understand that, you know what I'm saying? But if your special visit is worth it, then I'm asking for your help.
If you say you can work my visit, it's like kids, man. You got an officer over there. If the money's right, you can get whatever you want.
I need to know who it is.
It's Gil.
This conversation, it's a ticking bomb about to explode into something much bigger. But what's more shocking is the audacity of what comes next. So make sure to keep on watching to see the guts of these cops.
I move on this pretty fast. I mean, good information can come stale pretty quick. I want to try to set up a drug reverse. Let's do this. I'm gonna shoot you this number. You pass it to Gilbert. You let him know that that's your cousin to get at him, and we'll make it work from there. Is that straight?
Man, just make sure you take care of what you're gonna take care of for me.
I got you. That's a done deal.
I done did my part, so that's what's up.
I got you.
We done here.
That's it.
You won't believe how far this rabbit hole goes. Things are about to take a jaw-dropping turn.
He's kind of getting me worried a little bit. Gilbert haven't showed up for work yet. I'm scared he may have got wind that we was on to him, and it's even quite possible that he done quit his job and maybe have left town. I mean, it's happened before.
Could Gilbert really have disappeared, taking all his dirty secrets with him? Or is something even darker at play? Make sure to stay tuned to see just how deep this goes.
Hey, buddy. Okay, you got a hold of him. Okay, look here, we'll take care of it from here. I got a court order for cocaine and marijuana. Joe, you doing all right?
Yeah, man. How about you?
I'm not gonna wire you up until after we do our briefing.
You're planning on actually doing the exchange and take that in here?
No, sir. Right up here to the truck. Right outside. And in a perfect world, what I want to happen is him to pull in to one of these slots right here where Joe can just walk up to the car.
And now it's clear. This is no small operation. You won't believe the squad's next move.
We have to use extreme caution when dealing with a person like this. All our correction officer staff have concealed carry weapons permit, so we're going to treat Gilbert as if he is armed and dangerous. Might decide to start shooting or want to fight or take out running on us. You back a guy to a corner and things are subject to go left real quick.
Walking into a situation that could explode into bloodshed at any moment. And with a man like Gil, the stakes couldn't be higher, so make sure not to go anywhere.
I'm in room 123. How far out?
I ain't that far away. I'll be like you back.
All right, I'll be watching for you.
Like him making the circle here and just fix to pull into the parking lot.
All right, he's making the circle. Ready. Everybody just stand by where you at. He's clearing up the cash. Stand by.
The moment we've been waiting for is almost here, and how it all unfolds will stun you.
Coach Freed Park. Subject accepted the package of contraband, the drugs, the cell phone, accepted payment for it.
All right, listen. Agent Clark, would you help search this vehicle?
He was bragging practically about all the contraband he's brought into the prison.
Just when you think things couldn't get worse, things that are revealed send shockwaves throughout the entire operation. There is more to come, so make sure to stick with us.
Let's bring a chair over here. All right, you just have a seat right there. Court advisor was right. You know what happens next?
I don't guess.
We going to jail.
Gil's smug attitude won't last long when he's going to be sentenced in the court. Justice has never sounded sweeter, especially when the corruption gets caught on camera. What's most unsettling about Gil's downfall is the sentence he received, 94 days. It's a frustrating and dark reality. It serves as a glaring reminder of the system's failure to truly hold its own accountable. This next criminal takes things to a whole new level, like this mafia member getting punished for his horrific crimes now.
One for each stitch that I received in my mouth.
In October of 2024, Arizona Mexican mafia member Ramon Bueno got into a near-fatal altercation with an officer. The man was put on the stand for his crimes, which will disgust you to your very core.
We are on the record in the state of Arizona versus Ramon Luna Bueno, CR 2014-149887-001 and CR 2014-149, just that case. Counsel, appearances, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ellen Dahl on behalf of the state.
Good morning, Your Honor. Vernon Lorenz appearing on behalf of Ramon Luna Bueno.
Good morning, and good morning, Mr. Luna Bueno.
Good morning.
May I please have your full name and date of birth, sir? In preparing for today's sentence, the court also takes into account that the jury did find the defendant guilty of the following aggravating circumstances.
What you will hear next is horrible enough to make your ears bleed, so make sure not to go anywhere.
Infliction or threatened infliction of serious physical injury. The offense involved the use, threatened use, or possession of a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument during the commission of the crime, specifically a gun. The court would note that the defendant's prior felony convictions would serve as an aggravating factor as to counts 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 12. The court did preside over the trial in both of these trials, the trial that concluded on January 16, 2019, as well as the trial that concluded on December 19, 2019.
I, for one, am horrified by this man's actions. Make sure to stay tuned because it only gets worse from here as people come in to give speeches.
Has denied any involvement and continues to fail to accept responsibility for his actions. On the early morning hours of October 8, 2014, the defendant had no regard for the life or respect for law enforcement. The actions by the defendant and his blatant disregard for human life could have easily killed officers Trooper James Casey, Ronaldo Cruz, and Mike Alfano. Because the defendant's actions, the lives of these officers, their families and friends have been changed forever.
This isn't all. The rabbit hole only gets deeper from here, and this particular one is as deep as it gets.
A task force was established to apprehend the suspect. Employees were pulled together from other units within the Phoenix Police Department, and they were assigned to work 12-hour shifts to assist homicide investigators without any days off. The investigation was exhausting on all investigators involved, and personally, I was without sleep for several days worrying about the defendant as to whether he was going to kill, injure, or seriously disable anybody while on the run in his effort to elude police. The defendant was a known violent gang member and would not hesitate to hurt or kill others in furtherance of his criminal street gang.
Look at the man. He has absolutely no remorse for what he's done. This woman's request in this next clip perfectly reflects that.
The defendant was interviewed after he was arrested. He denied any and all involvement, although physical evidence and witness statements put him inside the vehicle and as the shooter. During the interview, it was more important for the defendant to stay in good graces with his gang rather than be a man and accept responsibility for his actions. I respectfully ask that you sentence the defendant to the maximum on each of the counts. Thank you very much.
If you thought this was eye-opening, just wait till you hear the beans spilled in this next speech. So don't you dare go anywhere. This is where it goes down.
I've worked the Arizona Mexican Mafia for over 2 decades. And in that time, I've found that not only are they one of the biggest threats on the street, but also within corrections as well and detention facilities. I think that everybody needs to know that based on their own code of conduct. It mandates that they commit violence, that they spill blood. It mandates that they support other members. Mr. Bueno, he will never be safe in society to other people.
What the investigator will say about Mr. Bueno next will show you how absolutely despicable he is.
The actions of Mr. Bueno, those are brownie points for him, Your Honor. Not only will he have elevated status and reputation within the Arizona Mexican Mafia, but within the ranks of inmates overall because of his actions of seriously injuring a law enforcement member, nearly killing him. And the other thing, Your Honor, is we have statutes for a reason dealing with criminal street gang members. They are one of the biggest threats to society there are.
Now we move on to the most moving of them all, the speech of the victim of Bueno's horrific crime. So definitely make sure not to miss this.
When I was testifying, the couple of things that I will mention is, one, originally I was going to ask you to sentence him to, I know numerically it's not possible, to 155 years in prison, one for each stitch that I received in my mouth, but obviously that's not there. I would ask you, though, I'm in concurrent with Attorney Dahl. I would like you, if possible, to run all these sentences consecutive as long as possible, so he will never see the light of day. He is a very dangerous man. Had he just kept still that night, we wouldn't be here. I would have dealt with the driver.
What Bueno's lawyer attempts to do in this next clip is truly disgusting.
Position to decide what the sentence should be. And you're perfectly situated for that because you heard both trials, you've seen the pre-sentence report, you've heard the arguments of the state. All I ask is that you fashion a sentence that's just, that you take into account the things I put in my sentencing memorandum. Should also point out that Mr. Bueno's got his sister Ida in the gallery to your left and some other loved ones, family and friends. Ida's chief among them. She was here as often as she could during the trial, as often as she could be here. So that's what we ask, just a fair and just sentence. Mr. Bueno respects the work of the jury, but he respectfully disagrees with their verdicts.
He thinks he can butter up the judge, but there's no escaping for Bueno now, especially after he speaks himself.
Mr. Bueno?
I would just like to say that I am sorry for what happened to James Casey. Regardless of what they continue to say about me, that he always been in my prayers. But I also like to ask James Casey, as well as Ellen Dahl, if they can look up in the Lord's book and look up Exodus chapter 20, verse 16. That's it. Thank you.
Say that I understand my role here today is to mete out justice, and I will do so. I will be imposing a sentence that I believe is fair and appropriate.
There is no escape for Bueno. He wishes for a reprieve, but his crimes suggested otherwise, and he will pay the ultimate price for those crimes.
You've made some choices that have resulted in you being here today. I can't even fathom what resulted in those choices. I don't know who you were before you got here before me. We've been in trial together for 3 years, not trial. We've been the judge and defendant for 3 years, and you have been nothing but respectful to me, and that you have made choices that have resulted in grave harm to many, many people. But what I'm sentencing you for today is the harm that you caused to the people in this case, keeping in mind the history that brought us here. This is not an action that occurred in a vacuum. This is an action that occurred after a lifetime of other crimes, and those crimes suggest to me that you are a danger to society, in addition to these crimes. Contact with the victims, and the defendant shall pay restitution for all economic loss to all victims. The court is retaining jurisdiction over restitution on counts 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9.
Ramon Bueno has been sentenced to almost 100 years in prison after the October 2014 shooting of an Arizona Department of Public Safety trooper. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and comment below your thoughts. And if you'd like to see even dumber cops get absolutely owned by their superiors, this next video is the one for you, where this cop not only had an accident, but fled the scene only to be followed, and you could never guess what happens next. So check it out.